So this is what's happening today. So as you saw, we finally got the front clip off of the M here. I have all the SLR stuff sitting in the back. It's about time I put this stuff on because the drift day is only a week away. It's a 2-day event, bonus round. I'm super hyped on it, but I definitely want the new steering setup because I want to feel it out this year. I don't want to jump into next year when we're competing, go to the first event and be like totally balls deep into a setup that I've never driven before. So, should be fun. First thing I think I'm gonna do is probably take off the knuckles, the brakes, take everything off the subframe and clean it up. I thought about painting like the calipers and stuff, but honestly I don't really think that's that big of a deal to me. So I'm probably just gonna pull it off, clean the rotors. I thought I was gonna have to get them turned, but honestly they're like really smooth. I think they might have been brand new because the guy who I bought the car from, I think, did the brakes. So that should be a simple deal. So all I did besides spray the whole assembly down with brake cleaner to clean that up was I took 220 grit on a DA and just kind of smoothed the surface of both sides of the rotor, and then I just took some brake cleaner and some Scotch-Brite and cleaned everything up, and then used brake cleaner and just a rag to finish cleaning it up. You could get in all the cracks and stuff if you have the problem with maybe like a wire wheel or something. I couldn't find mine, so I'm not going to do that. It'll be fine for now. It'll probably clean itself up a little bit just in use. But so now that this is all clean, I'm going to grease the calipers. So to clean the caliper up and get it how we want it, working just like new, we just got to pull these little caps off, and there's like an Allen head bolt, and that's part of the slider. So that's what this, see how terrible that moves, you can even like hear it contacting. We pull all that out, grease it, clean everything. I'm probably gonna take like a wire brush, just a hand one to clean everything up, and then put it all back together, and she should move smooth. Now that this is all done and put back together and moves very nice, now I'm going to toss this back on the knuckle and install the SLR stuff. So this is the piece that mounts to the knuckle. We're doing the left side. This little bolt right here, this section right here has these little dowels in it. That's what fits into this. The setting that it's at right now is the low acronym. This is what you would want for drifting. If you moved it up to the other set of dowel pins, that's what you would run for like a road race or even just a street setup. So, yeah. So there's these little bushings on this rod where the control arm goes that basically slides right into the heim joint, which makes it super, not the heim, but makes it super nice. No players in it. So make sure you have that kind of like set in before you tighten anything, or else you're just gonna crush it. This, the F-cab, as Chelsea calls it, this is a plastic bushing, and it's kind of tight, so I cleaned up this part of the control arm with just a wire wheel, and I put a little bit of white lithium grease on it just to make it a little bit easier putting it on. So as shown before, I had this on the knuckle, but after doing one side so I could show you guys, I took this back off the knuckle, and now I'm gonna basically put this on the car with the control arm and then build it from there. So then when you pound this on, I found on the other side to be like 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little bit more, that I hammered it on. I had to use like a 7/8 socket to slide it over after I had got it to like the flush with this side. It's not staying focused, but now I'm gonna put it in the car. So this is just spun in. These new bolts came with the kit. They're way longer, so they go up into the chassis more. And then basically this is how it goes with the heim facing in and the SLR reading correctly on the bottom of this. And then Then this is the bolt that goes through the center of the control arm. Basically this part just blocks, comes down. This little shaft here fits inside of the bushing, and then this holds it in, and then this goes up through your subframe, up through the top. And then since they're both the same thread, you can basically just hold the top one and then just tighten the bottom one, and it tightens both of them the right amount. So now the control arm's up through the subframe. I'm gonna leave that loose for now. I'll tighten this just because it's gotta fit on those little shoulders. So since I want that to be right, this is the only thing I'm gonna tighten for now, and then I'm gonna put the rest of the hub on. So with this bracket already mounted to the knuckle, we're just basically gonna pop this bottom piece right onto the control arm, and the bracket, the little spacers that it come with, they go, so these have those little shoulders too. So this first one, the first one with the flange slides on, this top side will go into the bushing, and then this bottom one will slide over that, and then just the nut. Alright, so the SLR kit is tight and installed on both sides now. And now I'm gonna have to go through and adjust caster and camber and everything with what I have. I can tell that probably a little bit too forward in this wheel well, but I'm pretty psyched on the fact that we're running these big brakes now, the M3 ones from, it's hard to tell without them side by side, but these calipers and everything is a way smaller setup than that one. So we got the whole kit on, wheels on and everything, which I'm actually running different wheels. I threw on some 8.5s with a way less of an offset just because I had my other wheel that I usually run, the 720, and it literally stuck 2.5 to 3 inches outside of the fender. So for the sake of my fender and angle, since I was hitting on the inside, I just put a narrower wheel on. They still have good tires on them, so I can still run them as fronts. That's what I'm gonna do. We kind of eyed up toe as best as possible, just in the air. And then we also set caster. That's what these back brackets are for. So we basically, when this goes out, you roll the caster back. When it goes in, tire comes forward in the wheel well. So we just kind of centered it, went off that. I mean, it still might get adjusted, but that's where we sit now. So now we're gonna set the car on the ground for the first time and finish up the alignment. So I heard this kit lowered cars a little bit, but look at that. There is no room there. Yeah, right, fitment. So I gotta raise the car up a little bit. And because we have to definitely take some camber out. I think we have, our gauge only reads to -6 and it surpasses that, so. All right, so to get a little bit more camber, or less camber actually, there was 2 sets of Allen bolts in here and we dropped it down to 1. All the pressure's going up, so I'm really not too worried about that. So hopefully that'll put us at least -6 before we had way too much. Since we swapped calipers, now we're just gonna bleed the brakes quick so we don't have to keep jacking it up and taking the tires off. So that's the next plan of attack. We are considerably wider. Basically with this fitment right here, I put the 720s back on. These are 9.5s ET18 with no spacer. Before the car was about an inch lower, there was a 20 mil spacer in here and fender came down like right here on sidewall. So that just shows how much more the SLR kit kicks it out. And that was from another high angle kit. So if you guys ever look into getting this, be prepared to either cut your fenders or go wide body because it's nuts. But I'm really excited about the angle. I haven't started it up yet to get power steering working and fully cranked it, but we're about to do that. I'm gonna throw the front bumper on.
I think you're gonna hit your bumper, but that's just personal.
No, I'm pretty sure I am too.
Well, we know I was trying to disagree. He's like, no,
I'm pretty sure I would.
Oh, we took the 8. Hope you guys like the install. If you have any questions, drop a comment below. You're gonna see more of like a review after this weekend when I actually drift with the steering kit. I drove it on the road a little bit and it feels way nicer. I feel like I was having a sway bar issue, which I totally took out now. It was just kind of binding up. So now that I kind of got that solution fixed, I'm super stoked. So like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for the vlogs leading up to Drift Day and Drift Day. So the bonus round should be super good. Deuces.